And that's before we even get to the truly bizarre stuff happening beneath the surface. Imagine a fish armed with a biological water pistol, capable of hitting targets with pinpoint accuracy from several feet away. Sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, right? But this isn't fiction. This is the Archerfish, and almost nothing about it is normal. From its hunting techniques to its surprisingly complex social life, the Archerfish defies expectations at every turn. We're not just talking about a fish that spits water. We're talking about an animal that has evolved an incredibly sophisticated system for calculating trajectory, accounting for light refraction, and even learning from its mistakes. And the deeper you dive into the world of the Archerfish, the more you realize just how much we still have to learn about these remarkable creatures. So, what makes the Archerfish so special? Well, for starters, let's talk about that water pistol. It's not just a random squirt. It's a carefully calibrated jet of water propelled by a specialized structure in the fish's mouth. The Archerfish presses its tongue against a groove in the roof of its mouth, creating a barrel-like structure. Then it forcefully contracts its gill covers, which act like bellows, forcing water through the barrel and out towards its unsuspecting prey. But here's where things get really interesting. The Archerfish isn't just aiming at the insect itself, it's aiming above the insect. Why? Because of light refraction. When light passes from one medium to another, like from air to water, it bends. This means that the insect's image is distorted, and the Archerfish has to compensate for this distortion in order to hit its target. Now, you might think that this is just a simple instinctive behavior. But research has shown that Archerfish can actually learn to adjust their aim based on experience. If they consistently miss their target, they'll adjust their aim higher or lower until they start hitting it more consistently. This kind of learning is pretty rare in fish, and it suggests that Archerfish have a level of cognitive ability that we don't often associate with aquatic animals. And it's not just about hitting the target. The Archerfish also has to take into account the distance to the target, the size of the target, and even the angle at which it's shooting. All of these factors affect the trajectory of the water jet, and the Archerfish has to make these calculations in real time. It's like a biological sniper, constantly adjusting its aim to account for all the variables. But the Archerfish's hunting skills are only part of the story. These fish are also surprisingly social creatures, living in groups and cooperating with each other to find food. In some cases, they'll even work together to take down larger prey, with some fish shooting at the target while others wait below to catch it when it falls. This kind of cooperative behavior is relatively rare in the animal kingdom, and it suggests that Archerfish have a complex social structure that we're only just beginning to understand. What's more, the Archerfish isn't even limited to just shooting water. They can also jump out of the water to snatch insects from low-hanging branches, or even use their mouths to grab prey directly from the surface. This versatility is another testament to the Archerfish's adaptability and intelligence. They're not just specialized hunters. They're opportunistic feeders, willing to try anything to get a meal. And if you think that's impressive, consider this. Archerfish can even distinguish between different types of insects, and they'll adjust their shooting strategy accordingly. For example, they might use a weaker shot for a delicate insect like a butterfly, and a stronger shot for a tougher insect like a beetle. This level of discrimination suggests that Archerfish have a sophisticated understanding of their prey, and that they're able to make nuanced decisions about how to hunt them. But perhaps the most remarkable thing about the Archerfish is that it has evolved all of these incredible abilities in a relatively short period of time. Archerfish are found in the mangrove forests and estuaries of Southeast Asia and Australia, environments that are constantly changing and presenting new challenges. This has forced the Archerfish to adapt and evolve at a rapid pace, resulting in a creature that is truly one of a kind. It's clear that there's so much more to this animal than meets the eye, And the more we learn about it, the more we appreciate its unique place in the natural world. So, let's dive a little deeper and explore some of the specific adaptations that make the archerfish such an extraordinary hunter, and why they are so much more than just a fish that spits. We'll start by looking at the mechanics of that incredible water jet and how they achieve such accuracy. The archerfish's water jet isn't just a random squirt, it's a precisely calibrated weapon. They don't just open their mouths and hope for the best. The process starts with the archerfish's tongue. It presses against a groove in the roof of its mouth, forming a narrow barrel. Then, the archerfish forcefully contracts its gill covers, essentially acting as a pump, pushing water through that barrel. The size and shape of the opening can be adjusted to control the velocity and volume of the water jet. They're basically creating a biological water pistol. But here's the kicker. The archerfish doesn't just shoot a stream of water, it creates a single, powerful droplet at the end of that stream. Imagine trying to form a perfect droplet every single time you squirted water. It's an incredibly complex feat of fluid dynamics. This single droplet concentrates all the force of the water into one point, maximizing the impact on its target. Think of it like the difference between a gentle shower and a focused jet from a pressure washer. How do they manage this? Well, the archerfish's mouth is uniquely shaped to manipulate the water flow. As the water is expelled, the archerfish rapidly closes its gill covers, creating a sudden pressure surge that pinches off the water stream and forms the perfect droplet. It's a subtle but crucial maneuver that separates the archerfish from other fish that might only manage a weak, scattered spray. And the accuracy? That's where things get really interesting. Scientists have discovered that archerfish have specialized tissue in their eyes that corrects for light refraction. When light passes from air into water, it bends, making it difficult to accurately judge the position of objects. Think about sticking a straw into a glass of water. It looks bent, right? The archerfish faces the same problem when targeting insects above the surface, but the archerfish's eyes have evolved to compensate for this distortion. They have a unique lens shape and specialized photoreceptor cells that essentially undo the bending of light. This allows them to see their prey with remarkable clarity, even through the water's surface. It's like having built-in corrective lenses specifically designed for hunting in their watery environment. It's like they're born with a pre-programmed understanding of physics. Dr. Aris Thorne, a marine biologist specializing in archerfish, once told me during an interview. They instinctively know how light behaves when it enters the water, and their brains process that information in real time to pinpoint the exact location of their target. He continued, "We've even done experiments where we've artificially altered the light conditions, and the archerfish are able to adjust their aim accordingly. It's truly remarkable." But the archerfish's adaptations don't stop at its water jet and its understanding of physics. There's something even more unusual, something that challenges our understanding of fish behavior altogether. You see, archerfish are not solitary creatures. They live in groups, often in brackish waters where rivers meet the sea. And within these groups, a fascinating social dynamic unfolds, a dynamic that hints at a level of intelligence and cooperation rarely seen in the fish world. Think about it. Hunting with a water jet isn't exactly a silent operation. The splash alone could alert potential prey and certainly alerts other archerfish nearby. So, what's to stop every archerfish in the vicinity from firing their own jets, creating a chaotic free-for-all where everyone is competing for the same insect? Well, that's where the intriguing social structure comes into play. Studies have shown that archerfish groups often have a hierarchy, with dominant individuals getting preferential access to the best hunting spots. These dominant fish are often the largest and most experienced, and they tend to be the first to target prey. But here's the kicker. The other archerfish in the group don't just sit idly by. They observe, they learn, they coordinate. Researchers have observed younger or smaller archerfish learning from the more experienced ones, mimicking their techniques and improving their own accuracy over time. It's like a classroom, but instead of textbooks and lectures, the lessons are delivered through real-time observation and imitation. And it's not just about individual skill development. There's evidence to suggest that archerfish can even coordinate their attacks, with multiple fish firing their jets at the same target in quick succession, increasing the chances of a successful hit. This kind of coordinated behavior requires a level of communication and understanding that is truly exceptional for a fish. Now, how exactly do they communicate? That's still a mystery. Scientists believe that visual cues such as body posture and fin movements may play a role. But it's also possible that they use subtle chemical signals or even electrical impulses to communicate with each other. The research is ongoing, and every new discovery only deepens the mystery surrounding these fascinating creatures. And speaking of mysteries, let's delve into an even more peculiar aspect of archerfish behavior: their apparent ability to recognize and remember individual human faces. Yes, you heard that right. Some studies have suggested that archerfish can distinguish between different human faces, even when those faces are presented in black and white or with subtle variations in expression. This is a remarkable feat, considering that fish brains are generally considered to be much simpler than mammalian brains. So, how do they do it? Well, it's not entirely clear. But one theory is that archerfish use a combination of visual cues, such as the shape of the face, the position of the eyes, and the size of the nose, to create a mental image of each individual. They may also be able to associate certain faces with specific experiences, such as being fed or being startled. Imagine the implications of this ability. It suggests that archerfish are not just mindless automatons, blindly firing their water jets at anything that moves. They are intelligent, social creatures with the capacity for learning, communication, and even individual recognition. And this raises a profound question. What else are we missing? What other hidden talents and abilities are lurking beneath the surface of the archerfish's seemingly simple existence? The more we learn about these creatures, the more we realize how little we truly understand about the natural world. And it's not just their cognitive abilities that are surprising. Their physical adaptations are just as remarkable, particularly when it comes to their vision. Think about the challenges that archerfish face. They live in murky, brackish water where visibility is often limited. They need to be able to see both above and below the surface, and they need to be able to accurately judge distances in order to hit their targets with their water jets. To overcome these challenges, archerfish have evolved a unique visual system that is unlike anything else in the animal kingdom. For starters, their eyes are positioned high on their head, giving them a wide field of view, both above and below the water. This allows them to spot potential prey from a distance and to keep an eye on their surroundings for predators. But it's not just the position of their eyes that's special. It's also the way their eyes are structured. Archerfish have a flattened cornea, which helps to reduce the distortion caused by light refraction as it passes from air to water. This allows them to see clearly both above and below the surface, without having to constantly adjust their focus. And their lenses are also, Bishop's Pub, adapted to focus on objects at different distances, allowing them to accurately judge the range of their targets. But perhaps the most remarkable adaptation of the archerfish's visual system is its ability to compensate for the effects of parallax. Parallax is the apparent displacement of an object when viewed from different angles. This is a common problem for animals that hunt in 3 dimensions, but it's particularly challenging for archerfish, which need to accurately judge the distance of their targets while accounting for the angle at which they are viewing them. To overcome this challenge, archerfish have evolved a specialized region in their brain that is dedicated to processing visual information. This region, known as the optic tectum, is responsible for integrating information from both eyes and for calculating the distance and trajectory of potential prey. And it's not just about calculating the distance. The optic tectum also needs to account for the curvature of the water jet, which is affected by gravity and air resistance. This is an incredibly complex calculation, but the Archerfish's brain is able to perform it in real time, allowing them to hit their targets with remarkable accuracy. It's like they have a built-in ballistic calculator, constantly adjusting their aim to compensate for all the different variables. But even with all these amazing adaptations, the Archerfish's life is not without its challenges. They face threats from predators, such as birds and larger fish, and they are also vulnerable to habitat loss and pollution. And as the climate changes, the salinity and temperature of their brackish water habitats are also changing, which could have a significant impact on their survival. So, what does the future hold for the Archerfish? Will they be able to adapt to these challenges and continue to thrive in their unique ecological niche? Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure. The Archerfish is a remarkable creature, and it deserves our attention and protection. And to truly appreciate the Archerfish, we need to understand more than just its hunting techniques and physical adaptations. We need to delve into its evolutionary history to understand how it came to be the unique and fascinating creature that it is today. The evolutionary history of the Archerfish is still shrouded in mystery, but scientists have pieced together some clues from fossil records and genetic analysis. It's believed that Archerfish evolved from a group of ray-finned fishes that lived in Southeast Asia millions of years ago. These early Archerfish were likely small, relatively unremarkable creatures that fed on insects and other small invertebrates. Over time, however, they began to develop the unique adaptations that we see in modern Archerfish. Their jaws became more protrusible, allowing them to spit water with greater force and accuracy. Their eyes moved higher on their head, giving them a wider field of view. And their brains became more complex, allowing them to process visual information more efficiently. It's a gradual process of adaptation and natural selection, with each generation building upon the successes of the previous one. And it's a testament to the power of evolution, which can transform even the most ordinary creature into something truly extraordinary. But the story of the Archerfish is not just about evolution. It's also about ecology, about the complex relationships between Archerfish and their environment. Archerfish play an important role in their ecosystems, helping to control insect populations and providing food for larger predators. They are also indicators of environmental health, as they are sensitive to changes in water quality and habitat conditions. By studying Archerfish, we can learn a lot about the health of their ecosystems and about the impact of human activities on the natural world. And that brings us to the most important point of all, the need to protect Archerfish and their habitats. As we continue to develop and exploit natural resources, we are putting increasing pressure on Archerfish populations and their ecosystems. Habitat loss, pollution, and climate change are all major threats to their survival. But there are things we can do to help. We can support conservation efforts, reduce our carbon footprint, and make more sustainable choices in our daily lives. By working together, we can ensure that the Archerfish continues to thrive for generations to come. And there's one more piece to the puzzle, one final detail that makes the Archerfish truly exceptional: their resilience. Despite facing numerous challenges, imagine a fish armed with a biological water pistol, capable of hitting targets with pinpoint accuracy from several feet away. We've covered their incredible shooting skills, their complex vision, and even their surprising understanding of physics. There's something even more unusual, something that challenges our understanding of fish behavior altogether. You see, Archerfish are not solitary creatures. They live in groups, often in brackish mangrove estuaries, And these groups aren't just random collections of individuals. They exhibit surprisingly complex social dynamics. Think of it like a miniature society, complete with hierarchies, cooperation, and even a bit of competition. The larger, more experienced archerfish tend to occupy the prime hunting spots, closer to the surface and with better visibility. These positions aren't simply claimed through brute force, though. There's often a subtle dance of dominance and submission, a series of displays and movements that communicate status and intent. But it's not all about competition. Archerfish also cooperate, especially when hunting larger or more elusive prey. Several individuals might coordinate their shots, creating a barrage of water droplets that overwhelms the target. This coordinated hunting behavior suggests a level of communication and understanding that's rare in the fish world. They seem to be able to anticipate each other's actions and adjust their own behavior accordingly. And here's where things get really interesting. Scientists have observed archerfish engaging in what appears to be teaching behavior. Older, more experienced individuals will sometimes demonstrate the shooting technique to younger, less skilled fish. They'll select a target, carefully aim, and then fire, seemingly to show the younger fish how it's done. The younger fish then attempt to mimic the behavior, often with clumsy but determined efforts. This isn't just a case of accidental learning. The older archerfish seem to be actively involved in the process, providing guidance and encouragement. They'll often repeat the demonstration multiple times, adjusting their technique based on the younger fish's progress. This kind of active teaching is incredibly rare in the animal kingdom, and it suggests that archerfish possess a level of cognitive ability that we're only beginning to understand. But the social complexity of archerfish doesn't stop there. They also exhibit sophisticated forms of communication, using a combination of visual signals, body postures, and even subtle changes in coloration to convey information to each other. For example, a dominant archerfish might display a brighter, more intense coloration to signal its status to subordinates. Conversely, a submissive archerfish might adopt a paler, more muted coloration to avoid conflict. They also use body postures to communicate intent. A raised fin might signal aggression, while a lowered head might indicate submission. These subtle cues allow archerfish to navigate the complex social dynamics of their group without resorting to constant fighting. It's a delicate balancing act, a constant negotiation of power and status that keeps the group functioning smoothly. And then there's the mystery of their breeding behavior. While scientists have observed archerfish spawning in captivity, the details of their reproductive behavior in the wild remain largely unknown. We know that they typically spawn in brackish water, releasing their eggs and sperm into the water column. But we don't know how they choose their mates, how they coordinate their spawning efforts, or how they care for their young. These are all questions that scientists are actively investigating, and the answers could shed even more light on the remarkable social complexity of these fascinating fish. The more we learn about archerfish, the more we realize that they're not just skilled hunters, they're also sophisticated social beings, with a complex understanding of their environment and each other. And that's before we even get to the truly bizarre stuff happening beneath the surface. Imagine a fish armed with a biological water pistol, capable of hitting targets with pinpoint accuracy from several feet away. We've covered their incredible shooting skills, their complex vision, and even their surprising understanding of physics. There's something even more unusual, something that challenges our understanding of fish behavior altogether. You see, archerfish are not solitary creatures. They live in groups, often in brackish mangrove estuaries, and these groups aren't just random collections of individuals. They exhibit surprisingly complex social dynamics. Think of it like a miniature society, complete with hierarchies, cooperation, and even a bit of competition. The larger, more experienced archerfish tend to occupy the prime hunting spots, closer to the surface and with better visibility. These positions aren't simply claimed through brute force, though. There's often a subtle dance of dominance and submission, a series of displays and movements that communicate status and intent. But it's not all about competition. Archerfish also cooperate, especially when hunting larger or more elusive prey. Several individuals might coordinate their shots, creating a barrage of water droplets that overwhelms the target. This coordinated hunting behavior suggests a level of communication and understanding that's rare in the fish world. They seem to be able to anticipate each other's actions and adjust their own behavior accordingly. And here's where things get really interesting. Scientists have observed archerfish engaging in what appears to be teaching behavior. Older, more experienced individuals will sometimes demonstrate the shooting technique to younger, less skilled fish. They'll select a target, carefully aim, and then fire, seemingly to show the younger fish how it's done. The younger fish then attempt to mimic the behavior, often with clumsy but determined efforts. This isn't just a case of accidental learning. The older archerfish seem to be actively involved in the process, providing guidance and encouragement. They'll often repeat the demonstration multiple times, adjusting their technique based on the younger fish's progress. This kind of active teaching is incredibly rare in the animal kingdom, and it suggests that archerfish possess a level of cognitive ability that we're only beginning to understand. But the social complexity of archerfish doesn't stop there. They also exhibit sophisticated forms of communication, using a combination of visual signals, body postures, and even subtle changes in coloration to convey information to each other. For example, a dominant archerfish might display a brighter, more intense coloration to signal its status to subordinates. Conversely, a submissive archerfish might adopt a paler, more muted coloration to avoid conflict. They also use body postures to communicate intent. A raised fin might signal aggression, while a lowered head might indicate submission. These subtle cues allow archerfish to navigate the complex social dynamics of their group without resorting to constant fighting. It's a delicate balancing act, a constant negotiation of power and status that keeps the group functioning smoothly. And then there's the mystery of their breeding behavior. While scientists have observed archerfish spawning in captivity, the details of their reproductive behavior in the wild remain largely unknown. We know that they typically spawn in brackish water, releasing their eggs and sperm into the water column. But we don't know how they choose their mates, how they coordinate their spawning efforts, or how they care for their young. These are all questions that scientists are actively investigating, and the answers could shed even more light on the remarkable social complexity of these fascinating fish. The more we learn about archerfish, the more we realize that they're not just skilled hunters, they're also sophisticated social beings with a complex understanding of their environment and each other. And that's before we even get to the truly bizarre stuff happening beneath the surface. You see, archerfish have developed a remarkable ability to adapt to a wide range of environmental conditions. They can tolerate significant changes in salinity, temperature, and water quality, making them incredibly resilient in the face of environmental challenges. This adaptability is particularly important in their natural habitat, which is often subject to fluctuating conditions. Mangrove estuaries are dynamic environments, constantly changing with the tides, the seasons, and the influx of fresh water from rivers. Archerfish have evolved to cope with these changes, allowing them to thrive in a habitat that would be inhospitable to many other fish species. But their adaptability goes beyond just tolerating environmental changes. Archerfish can also actively modify their behavior to cope with different conditions. For example, when the water becomes murky or visibility is reduced, they'll often switch to a different hunting strategy, relying more on their sense of touch and their ability to detect vibrations in the water. They're also able to adjust their diet based on the availability of different food sources. When insects are scarce, they'll happily feed on algae, small crustaceans, and other aquatic organisms. This flexibility allows them to survive even when their preferred prey is unavailable. And perhaps most remarkably, Archerfish have been shown to adapt to changes in their social environment. When faced with competition from other fish species, they'll often adjust their hunting behavior and their social interactions to minimize conflict and maximize their chances of survival. They're masters of adaptation, constantly learning and evolving to meet the challenges of their environment. But even imagine a fish armed with a biological water pistol, capable of hitting targets with pinpoint accuracy from several feet away. We've covered their incredible shooting skills, their complex vision, and even their surprising understanding of physics. There's something even more unusual, something that challenges our understanding of fish behavior altogether. You see, archerfish are not solitary creatures. They live in groups, often in brackish water environments where resources can be patchy and unpredictable. And within these groups, they display a level of social complexity that is truly astonishing. Researchers have observed archerfish engaging in cooperative hunting strategies, working together to dislodge prey from difficult-to-reach locations. One fish might shoot at a leaf to startle an insect, while another waits below to snatch it as it falls. This kind of coordinated behavior requires a degree of communication and understanding that is rarely seen in fish. But how do they communicate? That's where things get really interesting. Scientists believe that archerfish use a combination of visual signals and subtle body movements to coordinate their hunting efforts. They might use fin movements to indicate the location of prey or adjust their shooting angle based on the actions of their companions. It's a complex dance of communication and cooperation, all aimed at maximizing their chances of a successful hunt. But the social complexity of archerfish doesn't stop there. They also exhibit a remarkable capacity for learning and imitation. Young archerfish learn how to shoot by watching their elders, mimicking their movements and gradually refining their technique. This social learning is crucial for their survival, allowing them to acquire the skills they need to thrive in their environment. And what's truly fascinating is that they don't just blindly copy what they see. They seem to be able to evaluate the success of different shooting strategies and adapt their own behavior accordingly. They also display a fascinating level of individual personality. Some archerfish are bolder and more aggressive than others, while some are more cautious and reserved. These personality differences can influence their hunting behavior, their social interactions, and even their susceptibility to stress. It's like each archerfish has its own unique character, shaping its interactions with the world around it. Consider a scenario where two archerfish are competing for the same prey. A bolder fish might be more likely to aggressively pursue the target, even if it means risking a confrontation with its rival. A more cautious fish, on the other hand, might prefer to wait for a better opportunity, avoiding direct competition and minimizing the risk of injury. These individual differences can have a significant impact on the dynamics of the group, influencing everything from resource allocation to social hierarchy. And it's not just about individual personality. Archerfish are also incredibly sensitive to the social signals of their companions. They can recognize individuals based on their appearance and behavior, and they adjust their own actions accordingly. If an archerfish sees a rival successfully shooting down prey, it might be more likely to imitate that rival's technique in the future. This kind of social learning allows them to constantly refine their skills and adapt to changing environmental conditions. But perhaps the most remarkable aspect of archerfish social behavior is their capacity for reconciliation. When conflicts arise within the group, archerfish have been observed engaging in behaviors that seem designed to repair social bonds. This might involve gentle nudging, fin fluttering, or even cooperative grooming. It's as if they understand the importance of maintaining harmonious relationships within the group and are willing to work to resolve conflicts and restore social cohesion. This level of social complexity is particularly surprising given the relatively small brain size of archerfish. It challenges our assumptions about the relationship between brain size and intelligence, suggesting that Even animals with limited cognitive resources can exhibit sophisticated social behaviors. It raises the question of how archerfish are able to achieve such a high level of social complexity with such a relatively simple brain. One possibility is that they rely on a set of simple rules and heuristics to guide their social interactions. Instead of consciously analyzing every situation, they might rely on pre-programmed responses to common social cues. For example, they might have an innate tendency to avoid conflict with larger individuals or to cooperate with individuals who have previously cooperated with them. These simple rules, when combined with their ability to learn and imitate, could allow them to navigate complex social environments without requiring a high level of cognitive processing. Another possibility is that the social intelligence of archerfish is distributed across the entire group, rather than being concentrated in individual brains. The collective behavior of the group might emerge from the interactions of individual fish, each contributing its own unique perspective and expertise. This kind of distributed intelligence is seen in many other social animals, such as ants and bees, where the colony as a whole is able to solve complex problems that no individual could solve on its own. Whatever the explanation, the social complexity of archerfish is a testament to the power of evolution to shape behavior. It shows that even animals with seemingly limited cognitive abilities can develop sophisticated social strategies that allow them to thrive in challenging environments. It also highlights the importance of studying animal behavior in its natural context, rather than in artificial laboratory settings. Only by observing animals in their natural habitats can we truly appreciate the full extent of their cognitive and social capabilities. The archerfish, with its remarkable shooting skills, its complex vision, and its surprisingly sophisticated social behavior, challenges our assumptions about what it means to be a fish. It reminds us that the natural world is full of surprises, and that even the most seemingly ordinary creatures can possess extraordinary abilities. It's a story of adaptation, of cooperation, and of the endless wonders of evolution. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe. Comment what you want to hear next. And remember to always keep an open mind, because when we least expect it, nature will always find a way to amaze us. It is clear there's still so much to learn about these fascinating creatures and their watery world. Who knows what other secrets they hold, waiting to be discovered? Perhaps one day we'll even decipher the full extent of their communication methods, unlocking even more about their intricate social dynamics. For now, we can continue to marvel at these living squirt guns and appreciate the delicate balance of their ecosystem, striving to protect them and their habitat for generations to come.